have a research program called Emerging Powers Program. Emerging Power usually focuses on China and India, but my own research is very clearly about critical way of looking at India, China, and other states in the region. And therefore, my personal research interest, which is also my intellectual curiosity, is more about stateless nations. So generally, in the past, I've worked on Tibet. I've worked on majority-minority relation in China. I've worked on minority-majority in India. And I'm also very passionate about the issue of Kashmir, a seat as one of the stateless nations that remains stateless. But it is very much about people. Therefore, now that's my research. But as a program, an Emerging Powers program, we try to give platform to as many different views as possible. So that's sort of a disclaimer I'm giving in the beginning, that we would provide platform to any kind of intellectual curiosity or intellectual discussions. Now it so happens that generally, and this is not the only conference we have done in Kashmir, we have done more in the past, and we are very much serious about doing more in the future. But most of them have a certain ethos. That ethos is, let us focus on people rather than territory. Let us focus on people and humans rather than states and their interests. So therefore, the way we look at emerging powers is slightly different from the way in which someone would look at if they had been studying only Beijing or Delhi. On that note, today we have movie screening and discussion. We have 4 different speakers, one from Kashmir itself on Skype. Hopefully the Skype will work. They're talking about particular movie, particular subject. Now, should I assume that all of you know about Kashmir? Is there anyone here who has no clue of Kashmir? You have background, that's good, because sometimes we have to assume that some people may not know, so we have to give background. The basic background is Kashmiris are people occupied by 2 to 3 countries, if you consider even the territory of Aksai. There are different narratives. India will claim that entire Kashmir is its integral part, Pakistan will claim it's Jabil or whatever, but the fact of the matter is they are disputed narratives, and their narrative, one of people of Kashmir being sidelined while India and Pakistan have their own game plans. That's the overall story. And in that process, of course, it's not simply a game plan. It is where people get dehumanized, people get raped, people get tortured, people get killed. We have the situation where we talk about 70 to 80,000 people being killed in 1990s. Now, of course, within 70 to 80, you can imagine that 10,000 is somewhere in between. But that is the tragedy of the situation where, in many cases, the deaths are not properly documented, because we also have cases of 8 to 10,000 disappeared. But there have been certain deaths that everyone knows about. And this movie will be about a particular death, but also hopefully particular life. And particular life that is trying to remember that death, and through that, hopefully, question the dominant narrative that captured Kashmir. We are talking here about Makbul Bhatt, who is very well known as a freedom fighter of Kashmir, who was executed, hanged by India in 1984, and his body has never been returned. But yesterday, the hanging was, and yesterday was a case 2-year anniversary of another person, Afzal Guru, who had been hanged by India again, and body not returned. So India seems to have a habit of hanging people, not returning the body. We'll look into the person, we'll look at his life, we'll look at attempts made by, in this case, Fahad Shah, and others, to document their life, and we'll listen to people who have been closely associated with him and the campaign to bring his body back. On that note, what I do is I start with Fahad Shah, and Fahad Shah is someone some of you have seen him at the conference here in the past. Hopefully it will work. Now Fahad, I think he's looking more proper than in this picture, but yeah. Hi Fahad. Hi. We have already started, so I introduced the subject and I am going to introduce you very briefly. Then I'll ask you to speak for 8 to 10 minutes, but let me come back. So Fahad Shah is a journalist, writer and filmmaker, and he's the director of this film, Bring Him Back. He's the founder and editor of the Kashmir Wala magazine, That magazine is something that covers not only Kashmir but also covers other very important subjects in international politics and international relations. If you haven't visited the website, you should. It's a very interesting magazine. His latest book of Occupation and Resistance is an anthology that focuses on the resistance and politics of Kashmir. And he's written extensively on the issue of Kashmir in international and national publications, including Christian Science Monitor, Arden's First Post, Socialist Program. He was selected as a finalist for the Manthan South Asia Award 2011 for his work as a journalist. But in this focus, the focus not of him as a journalist but as a movie maker. Fahad, could you please explain to us, I think we can hear you clearly, in terms of explain the process of making this movie, Bring Him Back. So how hard or easy was it to do this documentary film? You have around 8 to 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm from Kashmir right now. I hope you're all well. Well, the movies are. And then we had this idea, and we were discussing making a movie around this subject, which is a really interesting thing about Mr. Makbul Bhatt, who was the Kashmiri leader, one among us, and someone who other leaders are go and take from him. So he was very in Kashmir and Pakistan, and I think in UK or the rest of the world, people know him, they know about the history of Kashmir. So the film began with this idea, discussion between Fahad, me and some other friends who put their opinions about how it should happen. Then we started 2 years ago, the first phase of the shoot started here in Kashmir. It was a very tough project, I think, first I had the time, because the reason was that this was a very sensitive subject, because if you look at the character in this movie is Mr. Makbul Bhatt's mother, Shaman Begum, who is old and who lives in North Kashmir, which is around 120 kilometers away from Srinagar. So we had to focus on her. So her health, she's not health-wise, so we had to give her space whenever she needed, when we shoot and when to do this, and then we had to tell her in our campus the exact way. With a lot of help from the family, from Mr. Makbul Bhatt's younger brother, so who's right now in prison in Kashmir. He helped us a lot, and then the whole family helped. So the film process was continuous trips to try around in North Kashmir, going there and discussing with them what we are going to do in the next phase. Then 2-3 days of shooting, and after that we had to, there was one phase where we had to take Shaman Begum to Baramulla district, which is another district in North Kashmir. Then we had to take her to Srinagar to go in the shrine where she went, and then at the martyrs graveyard where there is an empty grave of Mr. Makbul Bhatt. So it was continuously like that. It was like a journey with her. So I was continuously going with her, and then we were taking these shots as per the script. So, and this is a documentary. It's not something a fiction film where I had like complete freedom what I want to do, because I had to also take her into account and whatever she wanted to do on her own. And making a documentary in Kashmir on a subject like this is not an easy thing to do, because as you know, the last film, made on Makbul Bhatt earlier also, I think it was released last year in Kashmir. And when there was a first screening of the film, the police came to the venue was removed from people, and the screening was stopped. So they don't, so the government doesn't want something to come out which is based on things related to conflict or but. And in this documentary, we have to also focus on that how it was not only to show the reality, it was also to show the significance of the reality, the significance of Makbul Bhatt's political career, and the significance of his family right now, which is struggling right now also, because as some of you may be knowing that the other brothers of Makbul Bhatt were also later killed. And there's only this one brother who is alive today, so Makbul Bhatt. he's in jail currently for some case which has been imposed on him. So it was a very hectic process, but Talat is there. Talat was always there to say what to do and how things should be done, because I'm sure he has more knowledge on this subject because he has been associated with it for a very long time. So he helped in a lot of ways. He helped in script. He helped in a lot of ways to what are the sequences we have to shoot, what are the things we have to done, and I think in UK it's part of a big project. There is a campaign going on to get the remains of Pool But returned from India, because India returned the remains of Pool But. Now we have another person who has been buried in Tihar jail, Afzal Guru, who was killed was hanged 2 years ago on 9th Feb, and tomorrow, the 11th Feb, Pool But was hanged in 1984. So the film went on and on like that. And there were moments, there were instances where we had to shoot in the curfews. There was an interesting instance which I would like to mention here. That there was one time when we were in Pool But's ancestral house in Trek, and the police and CRPF men came outside the house and cordoned the whole house because they were looking for Zahur that time, because we were there in around 9th or 10th Feb. And before 11th Feb, they mostly detained Zahur and detained Mahmoud. So who was not there? But we were inside with the cameras and with all the equipment. So we had to hide inside. Family told us to, you just stay inside the house, don't come out. If they enter the house, we will have to explain what we are doing there. And I remember there was this thing that there was a driver there, and he ran away from the spot. Then I had to go and look for him where he was, because he was scared that the police may be detaining us also. And that's how things work in Kashmir, because it's one of the most sheltered and the international platform. We are trying to make people aware about what's happening here.
Okay, thank you, Fahad. One more thing, I mean, before I ask Talat to come in, I mean, in terms of significance, what response do you expect from people on the ground? Do they really care about the issue now? I mean, I'm just wondering about the response you expect from people who live in Srinagar, in Trehgaam, and other parts of the country. Turn off, that's the... What is the phone ring?
With me?
Yes, sorry. Just give me a second. The connection is bad. We'd like to assume the connection is bad, but it's more likely it's bad in the university anyway. No, Fahad, I was asking you that in terms of the response you expect from the people on the ground, I mean, could you say in a couple of minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, I mean, what kind of response do you expect? Do people really care about the subject now?
Yeah, people do care. If since Afzal Guru's hand, before that, Mahmoud Bhat was in a way people didn't know him much. The young generation mostly, because the young generation now in 2008 and 2010 protests have been taken part in the political process of Kashmir mostly. And they didn't know much about Mahmoud Bhat because he was hanged before we were born. But after Afzal Guru's hanging 2 years ago, so it came back, the memories returned. So it was kind of a similar thing, that another Kashmiri was hanged in Tihar jail and he was buried in the same jail. So people are taking interest in who Mahmoud Bhat was. They are trying to look into the history, who was that guy, what did he do for the political process of Kashmir, and they are relating it to Afzal Guru. So whenever you will see Afzal Guru's mentioned, people will talk about Mahmoud Bhat. Whenever they talk about Mahmoud Bhat, they talk about Afzal Guru. So at this point of time, this movie is important, and you will see in this movie also that how his father is talking about Afzal Guru's hanging. So it has in a way returned the same memories which happened 22 years ago.
Okay, thank you very much. In a sense, that what you message I'm getting is the reason, in a sense, that India, by killing people or killing Kashmir from time to time in this very brutal manner, not giving the body back, remind Kashmir of the situation there, which is the kind of occupation that they live under. That's the message I'm getting.